Thank you for joining us, everybody, on the Heritage Hip Hop Podcast tonight. We are going international with Uncle Rhymes, Rhyme Assassin. Make sure you hit the like button. You want to hit that algorithm because this is going to be a classic. Make sure you tune in because this is going to be one of them great shows that you're not going to forget. So without further ado, we're going to start the show.
Done.
Yeah, I'm here. Welcome back to the Heritage Hip Hop Podcast, where we introduce you to your future favorite artists today while highlighting the people who have made this culture great. Before we start the show, I'd like to give a shout out to Total Truth Apparel. Shout out to Brother Everlast, who put it down not only for the street, but he also puts it down for God with gospel hip hop. And this is his clothing line right here. So make sure you support Total Truth Apparel and show God some respect too as you do your hip hop. You know what I'm saying? But tonight we're going international. This gentleman right here, I think you're on this side, right here. We're going to go international. We're going to talk about not only music, but the power and the effect of hip hop culture with an artist that not only personifies the enduring ability to rhyme, but to create in his rhymes as well. Please, sir, introduce yourself to the people.
Yo, my name is Rhyme Assassin, aka Uncle Rhymes. I'm from Zimbabwe, but I'm stationed in the UK. So yeah, that's what I'm working with.
All right, well, salute to you and welcome to Heritage Hip Hop. You know,
I appreciate that,
man. Today we're going to talk about something very key when it comes to hip hop. And I don't like to start my interviews from where did hip hop influence you and things like that. I want to talk to you man to man, and as a teacher and you and a student and me being a learner of your story. What is hip hop to you and why did you want to do it?
So for me, like I felt like because I felt like in love with hip hop like way back like when I was in Zimbabwe. um so I fell in love with the message, what was going on, like people talking about the struggle, and also like the rhythm and the poetry that was going on is something that I easily like related to. And I was like, I like the story, the rhythm, the way they're rhyming. So I think there was an art to doing the music. So that's like for me something that like I fell in love with, that made me like fall in love with hip hop.
Your homeland. Let's talk about Zimbabwe. Tell me about the music and the an infection of culture that the music takes with the people there first.
So yeah, in Zimbabwe, like naturally, like the music people, like in Africa, everyone loves music. We got our traditional music. Um, so basically, like even way back, like in Zimbabwe, we had our own struggles as well. Like through, because we were like a British colony. So like people used to speak about their struggles through the music as well. So which was similar to what like hip hop was like doing at the same time. But in hip hop per se, like in Zimbabwe, it's growing. So there's like many people listening to hip hop at the moment. Like, but way back when I started listening to hip hop, it wasn't that much um of people listening to hip hop. So even the radio stations way back, it was, like one or two, like only radio programs playing hip hop. Throughout the years, it got more and more popular. So now, like it's like every other song you're listening to is hip hop. And we got more people being affected. And now we even in Zimbabwe, we got a lot of MCs rapping in other languages. So some are rapping in Shona, some rapping in Tevele, which are languages from Zimbabwe. So it's got a positive effect. So people are still speaking about the struggles in whatever language they're from.
You know what's dope about what you said? Hip hop came from pain, and most black music is the celebration of God and the overcoming a struggle. How strong is traditional Zimbabwe music when it comes to your style of hip hop and the music that originated from it, like gospel and how the Afro beats and even other sounds have come from the culture? Why don't you touch on that for me?
So basically, like I said earlier, like music, like the essence is always talking about the struggles, the stories about how people live in the communities. So like, traditionally, the traditional music of Zimbabwe, always used to touch on these subjects. But it also influenced the future music as the time goes, like when hip hop started to be heard in Zimbabwe and develop to where we at right now. So it's the similar um, way, like the way of the story, like in hip hop, where they used it to talk about their everyday struggles, to find ways to get together with other people, to fight the imperialist. So I think there's similar ways in that. But like now, as we go back, like people now are using hip hop as the voice, to air out their struggles, whether it's about against the government, social commentary. Yeah, so it's being used like a powerful tool, to address the social ills, whether it's celebration, whatever the occasion was, like hip hop is affecting, in every way, every day. I think for
Sorry for that. We have what I was saying was with hip hop now turning 50, we are now seeing the culture into the ancestral plane with people passing away who started the culture, with people dying who have contributed to the culture. And one thing about Africa that I can say that I do know of, not study, but know of from people talking, the voice of the ancestors is something that's always been key in documenting the sound, the struggle, the articulation of the culture and the people. Tell me about the Imbira and how does that affect you when it comes to your music?
like in mirror, the instrument. Okay, yeah. So it's one of the powerful instruments, like in Zimbabwean music. So like traditionally, ever since like the history of Zimbabwean music, it's one of the instruments that's always been used through even up to now. And like now so like as modernization, as we go into modernization, so some people, like sometimes we lose the essence of where music came from. So we kind of went through that phase, but nowadays we like people are getting more conscious about where they're from. So, like people are going way back, trying to use mbira and all the other instruments, trying to keep the essence of where music originally came from. And I got one or two strong songs which is gonna be on the album, which I'm also gonna be using, traditional instruments like mbira as well on it. Um, which is gonna be addressing the social ills, in Zimbabwe.
That's very key because I believe when it comes to hip hop was born with the turntable and the record from people taking instruments away. Then, as hip hop evolved from country to country, sound to sound, and even inner city to inner city, when the live instrument came back into hip hop, I mean, thank God for the roots. When it came back, it,
No
it,
doubt.
it, it facilitated a new soul structure to the head nod. It also gave soul shivers. It also gave goosebumps. It also gave rhythmic joy that only your body can express and your spirit can appreciate. What was one of those? What was one of those sounds that when you heard it, it made you want to rhyme, not just listen to the music?
As far as instruments, yeah, so it's definitely mbira is one of them. But also the guitar. But obviously, the way they play the guitar in Zimbabwe, it sounds different than anywhere else where you come from. So, like even now, one of the most popular musicians is called Macheso. He does the traditional Zimbabwe music, but he's well known for his performances, for how he plays the guitar. So you get moments where he sings, and he can go into like 5 to 10 minute session where he's just playing the guitar, and the crowd is going crazy because he's displaying his skills through instrumentation. And we got other artists like Thomas Mafumo, like he specializes in Bira as well. Yeah, so he's got his big following. He's one of Zimbabwe all-time big artists. So he's got a big following because he's got his particular sound because how he used the live instrumentation.
I love that. But the one thing we can't deny that hip hop is the only genre of music that's alive because you can't live R&B. You can sing, but you can't just live rhythm and blues because rhythm and blues is not a style that you wear. It's just something that you do. Jazz is slang because jazz means sex. And it was characterized by how people move their hips and swing music, right? With hip
Yeah,
hop, it always comes from here, whether it's pain in your heart or the beauty of appreciation of life that comes from the heart and the spirit. I want to ask you this. I went back and I listened to City, the City is Mine, right?
yeah.
And then going back to hear that, I want to know what fuels you to rhyme. Is it the passion to produce, or is it the therapy of producing so you can beat a struggle that was there before?
I think it's like the passion, like to be the struggle before, because like, for me, like music has always been like therapeutic. So like way back, even when I was young, when I started listening to hip hop, like it gave me like a different feeling than all the other music I was listening to at the time. Even up to now, it's still the same. Like I could listen to like an R&B song or like let's say a pop song. But for me, like the music that really speak to my soul has always been hip hop. Because I remember like way back when I came to the UK, like I think around 2002, that's when I relocated. But when you relocate to a new country, like things will be tough. You're trying to make things meet, trying to look for a good job and everything. But for me, like I remember I had like two CDs back then, like two CDs I had. I think one was Mob Deep. What's this CD called? Middle Music, and Beneath the Go, one of his tapes, the first one. So for me, like when times was hard, those are the only two tapes I had. But I realized like every time, like I listened to that music, like it gave me a sort of relief. um, it took away the pain, and it made me like I can live to see another day. So for me, like I think like hip hop is a powerful music. And the other tape I had, I think also was KRS One, the Sneak Attack. So like through listening to that, I was like, it gave me hope. Like for me, it spoke to my soul. Like I need to stay strong. I can make it.
In 2002, wasn't UK hip hop more grungy? That's when Dizzy Rascal was first popping, right?
Yeah, 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 definitely. But
Okay.
because for me, like when I was still in Zimbabwe, it's like American hip hop I always listening to. So even when I relocated um to the UK, like my ear was always been like American hip hop. That's the music I always like, related more to. So even when I get a paycheck, like I'll go in the record store trying to look for the next CD I could buy. So it's always been the type of sound that I was always been after, and it's never changed since.
That's great. We always say in America that internationally, real hip hop is appreciated there because here, America is such a crapshoot of microwavable garbage that they don't even take the time to appreciate our culture, and it's like crack. They just want to fix people with something new instead of us appreciating what we have and who we have when we come out. You said you listened to KRS-One at that time, and KRS-One in America at that time wasn't a big artist. He was a great artist, but not big to the mainstream. And people who really celebrated hip hop will always keep KRS-One high when it comes to his releasing music and things. As living abroad, I want to ask you, how is hip hop released and how do people take to it when it comes overseas, in your opinion?
In my opinion, like I've always noticed, like in the UK, because I've been to shows like in the UK, France, and Italy as well. But I've realized, like there's a great appreciation for, like the real hip hop, like, the old school guys, even like KRS One. Because like recently I've been to Master Ace, Chino Excel. I think he came with Immortal Technique, Rascas. So most of all of those shows, they're always packed. And you can tell people love the music because even when they're performing, everyone knows like word for word, like even when Talib Kweli last came, Most Def, the Wu Tang, like every time I've been to the shows, it's like jam packed. So like I know there's like great appreciation for it. Even when you have discussions um, with other people, so like people appreciate that real hip hop. Although obviously there were some people who might like commercial music, but in here I've noticed there's always like that great appreciation, and people love the real stuff.
So now let's build, because this is the part of the show where we go deep into something that you said that sparked the idea that I think will bring even more out this conversation. The power of the word is enormous because it said Christ was the word come to flesh. It says when God speaks, his words is like rain, that it falls to the earth, but it never rises back up. It has its purpose. Even in hip hop, when we really talk from the heart and the spirit, people try to take our words and put it against us because we're actually healing the community by telling the truth about the life that's being lived instead of just glorifying negativity that the world uses to destroy us. So, my question to you is, what is the responsibility of an artist to use their words, and where should their words be placed when it comes to the importance of documenting the culture through music?
I think that's a good conversation. So I think like your words, your direction of your message is like central key to making this, or should be the central key to making this music. So like even when I'm growing up listening to Immortal Technique, KRS One, Talib Kweli, I could tell like how much their music or their message in the music would heal my soul when the need arises. So sometimes I think as artists we might underestimate the power of the message of what we're saying. But I think, from a personal experience, I think it goes a very long way. So I think if artists realize the power in the words as they make music, I think they would aim to make a positive message, because it actually goes a long way. And like, this is our legacy for the children, and even like 20 years later, like, whether it's your grandchildren or whatever the case is, when they listen back, you would want them to have a positive message, rather than listening to your music and feel regret about it.
The one thing I regret about our words is that people have actively destroyed the word rather than uphold the word. And Triumph, Master Killer said, and from Wu-Tang Clan said, the deaf and dumb are intrigued by the drum, which means they're just nodding their heads and not
I
listening
just
to the words.
yeah.
We also have people say, well, I just like the beats, not listening to the words. Now we have computers that have taken the place of books, where people can erase total books, and the destiny and the ancestry and the destiny of the griot has been wiped away. Now we even have AI taking people's voices and changing the stories of the greats and making them something new or different or disgusting. Where do you want your words kept? How do you want generations to experience not only your words, but the experience of your sound as well in the future?
So personally, I would like my words to be kept. I'm thinking the same format as like I've released it, because I think that'll be more authentic to to how I want it. So, because when it starts getting reproduced into other forms, I think it will loses the message. Plus, it's not how the artist actually wanted it to be. For me, it's like personally like reading books. Maybe I'm just old school, but I like to actually hold the book and read the book word to word, rather than have like have some computer read it for me. So yeah, so I think everything is should be kept in this original format, how the artist actually want presented it to the world as.
Yeah, I believe so too. Because now we got to a time where people are using artificial intelligence to change songs. They put Biggie's voice, rest in peace, the Notorious B.I.G. They put his voice on Shook Ones, and they put his voice on New York State of Mind. And as you love to hear his voice, the spirit is different, and it's
It's
like this is
different, yeah,
not
because I've heard
cool.
many songs where like I'm hearing like a Nas song like on a different beat. I'm like, oh, this is Nas' new track. But the moment I listen to it, sometimes it sounds like a bit off key. Then the more I look into it, then I realize it's probably a DJ who's just taking the vocals and put it on another beat. So that's like I don't settle well with that. I think it's a bit corny personally. So because I think people are just now trying to use technology to make money off people's art. So yeah, I think they should just leave it to the way it was, like.
Yeah, they're killing the soul of the
Definitely.
culture. Tell me about your song. Let me get my notes real fast because I want to quote everything correctly. Tell me about your song "Pick My Life Up" and how you use your words to go into detail about you, not just talk over a beat for a rhythm.
Yeah, so on that particular track, we're just trying to use the song to share my personal experiences through life, and just trying to tell people that sometimes things is hard, but you need to stay focused. There's always be a better day, and not to lose hope. Because sometimes you might be at the bottom, but it's just a matter of time, provided you stay focused. Um, like one of the quotes I like is like, never downgrade your dreams to meet your reality, but to upgrade your conviction to meet your destiny. So you gotta always stay focused, and things will come to play.
I believe that as well. Here's a question I want to ask you that's very personal and provocative as well.
Mhm.
What's more important to you, the student or the teacher?
More important. I think the teacher for me.
Okay. Why?
Because I mean, if the teacher is stationed in the right spirit, in the right direction, so he'll be able to lead the next generations. So I think in whatever we do, we should understand that there is always students, whether we speak to them or not. But through listening to our music, there will always be students of our art out there. So I think it's important that in everything we do to understand that we teach us. So our spirit and our direction and our words to always be in the right space.
I'm going to propose a thought to you. You tell me what you think.
Yeah.
A student is a birthright, and a teacher is a title you have to earn. So there will always be students, always, but there will always be teachers because a lot of people don't step up to be public figures or people of tenacity that will teach the right, do right, and stand against injustice and wrong. That's what makes an MC to me. How do you feel about that statement?
If you can say that again.
From the beginning,
No, just the last part about how there's always students.
there are always students, but a teacher is a title you have to earn. So that's what makes
Okay.
MCs teachers because they have to earn that right. You agree?
Okay, yeah, I agree 100%. Yeah.
So in your
Um
so in your opinion, why is it that we are so thirsty for teachers, but we're not willing to be students of the people that are teaching when it comes to the culture, in your opinion, if you feel that way?
um I think just that nowadays, like, everyone is trying to get the spotlight, trying to be the teacher. So, in most cases, like you said, like it's something that needs to be earned. Like the more, like, for personally, like that's why, like, my favorite rap of all time is KRS One. It's like almost every track of his I'm playing, you don't even need anyone to tell you like he's the teacher. Like through listening to his music, you can feel it in your spirit. The what he's advocating for, what he's advocating against. So like that will be self-earned title. But nowadays, like some people, like they just trying to claim the title, but it's not worthy of the people claiming it at times.
Salute to you and everybody watching. That was the Let's Build segment of the Heritage Hip Hop Podcast, where we picked out something that the artist said, and we wanted him to indulge on it a little more because we believe hip hop is not what you do, it's how you live. And if it's inside of you, then you could perfectly project your emotions and your beliefs through your statements and also in how you live your life. So I want to also talk about sidebars. Tell me about the sidebars project and how that came about.
The sidebars, like throughout the years, I had like multiple tracks that I had put out randomly. So when it came like I just like it's more like a singles collection. So like it's just one of those extra tracks I had, which were not part of the album. So I made a tape to put all those projects together. Then I put out this sidebars tape.
What is Siva?
Well, Tiwa in my language, it's also basically it's a term that means boxing, but in this context, it also means battle. So that's one of my tracks that I done, which was discussing like one of a battle I had like way back. So yeah, but it's wrapped in Shona. with on a beat produced by the Deep Voice.
You have a remix on there too.
Yeah, so basically what happened was like I put out the track and I got like crazy reviews, like people loving the battle story, like, oh man, this is dope. So at that time, like it was even getting like a lot of airplay, so I had no option. I was like, you know what, let me do a remix to this. So I picked up some of the finest MCs from Zimbabwe to do the remix. And yeah, the remix was crazy as well, so everyone loved it. So like the bars, like just battle bars, just trying to battle against each other, which was crazy dope.
A well-rounded MC talks about many things. Since you like KRS-One, just use some KRS-One in your interview. KRS-One says an MC can rap to you about your life, while a rapper just raps to you about life. What do you
Definitely.
share about yourself that you believe brings people in to believe, feel, and want to know more about you when it comes to your art?
So I personally like I feel like just being yourself is the best way, rather than trying to imitate, because you're trying to imitate someone else, your story is gonna sound not convincing enough. But if you're sharing your own story and speaking from the heart, it will almost be guaranteed that there are people who's gonna feel whatever you're trying to put across. Like for example, like I did a song called Amai. So Amai in my language that means mother. So it was a song I done for my mom. But basically, I was just talking about how I grew up, because being young and dumb, like you be naughty. So I went to a boarding school. I ended up getting expelled, for some dumb stuff. So I was just narrating my story and apologizing that although these are the things I might have put you through, I now know better. Apologizing to my parents that it was just me being young, but I know better, so I'm gonna aim to do much better than and just apologizing on behalf of the kids like around the age I was, to the parents, to say sometimes it might just be temporary. It's just part of growing up.
Yeah, I think that's every man's story when it comes to being able to mature. We all hurt our parents in some type of way, and we all want to do right by our parents. When we were young, we always wanted to buy our moms a house or something. Dads always get left out for some reason, but we always want to buy our mom a house, or we always want to protect mom. And when we hurt our mother's feelings, it's the worst feeling in the world. Only for you to grow to meet a woman and want to appreciate her, but then you have to go back to your architect or the original formula of loving your mom, you know? And I want you to talk about your song Beautiful, because Beautiful kind of is it's a two-sided song from what I heard. Why don't you explain the song Beautiful?
So beautiful is more like like a love track which are done with one of the models from Bulawayo, called Alina. So basically, it's one of the songs. Although it's a love track, but it was also, kind of speak from a perspective of a man on, the type of things, how to be able to treat women, because like most of the times, people always say it's a man's world, but at the same time, we need to appreciate the women in the world, because they go through a lot trying to raise us, even as mothers, even as our partners. So it was basically a track to appreciate the woman in our lives.
I'm glad you made a song like that because in our world, we are taught men and women are the opposite sex, where biologically and morally, if not spiritually, that cannot be. Because when something opposes, it repels and fights. But when men and women come together, we create life. And the strongest kingdoms in the history of humanity had women in the seats and men in power. So it was a collection, a collective a masculine, feminine, divine energy that not only brought forth life, but also protected life and built kingdoms. Correct?
Yeah, definitely.
How will hip hop heal within the next age? Do you think the men and women have to come together to build, to take the culture to the next level? Or do we need to put the women in position so healing can begin on that side and it makes a man stronger, in your opinion?
Whoa, it's a difficult question, but I think for us to be able to build and heal like the situation, I think we need to take time out and try and hear what the women feel, and what they think, and what they think the issues is. So I think if we first establish that, then we'll be able to, to progress in the right direction. Because sometimes, because sometimes the men perspective is not always the way we look at things might be very different from women. So I think, if we try and have that conversation with women to see what exactly they think, what they think the issues is. Yeah, if you have that constructive discussion, then I think we'll be able to build in a very much more constructive way.
I ask you that because men in hip hop do a lot of songs with women, but it's very rare you have a man let a woman expose their true inside, their true beliefs, their true feelings, so it can be addressed on the song. One song that's in a classic was a battle between a man and a woman was Ice Cube and Yo Yo. It's a Man's World, right?
Yeah.
And we also had another one with Eve and Drag On. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I don't know. I think when it comes to our music, we could be so out of touch because we deny the voices that help guide our spirits, which is the ancestral voice of the feminine energy and the masculine energy. So I wanted to give you props and respect for making beautiful, because I believe in the context of the project that was very fit and meaningful, because appreciation of life goes far beyond how good you look or how much money you have. It's how you can connect with another soul and bring something beautiful in a relationship. Don't have to be romantic, but the relationship is what matters the most. You agree?
Yeah, definitely. Because like you say, like in every like relationship, the needs are different. So in every union, I think you need to take time out to understand each other, to understand what needs are, because I mean they are different with everyone. So yeah, so I think when we take time to understand each other, that's the only way we can, I mean, grow as a people.
And see, that's what makes Rhyme Assassin so dope, everybody. I told you this is going to be a classic interview. Not only do we talk that hip hop, we talk life, because hip hop is a part of life. Now it's time for us to get back to that music. Rhyme Assassin knows how to rhyme over some boom bap beats. Is that the only type of music you like to rhyme on, though?
Um, well, preferably, yeah. That's like it's boom bap, but I also got like, touching other sounds like I got a song coming out. It's called "Ain't Nothing But a Dream." It's been produced by Buckwild. It's got a mellow, soulful beat, and like it's not the usual Buckwild. I think that one will surprise people because like it's not the usual Buckwild sound. It's quite soulful, and I got one of the singers called Way Gideon from the UK. So it's called "In Nothing But a Dream." So just talking to people to say like keep your dream up, and stay focused. So yeah, it's gonna be coming out soon. So as much as boom bap, I also got some soulful beats, which is gonna be coming. And I also got another one called Solon with Master Ace. Yeah, when we're just talking about life. So yeah, it's we got that coming up as well.
Okay. Let me ask you a geographical question, because boom bap is very traditional hip hop. That's from the
Yeah.
80s to probably like the mid to late 90s, right? Because in the 70s to 80s, it was disco. Then boom bap came from that, and it went into trap and club hop and lo-fi, and it went to all this other stuff, right?
Yeah.
As an artist, you say you're more in the UK, so I'm gonna leave Zimbabwe out of this. Let's go UK towards American hip hop. What is the code? What is the temperament of the beats, and how does the beats or the beat structure of hip hop differ from the UK to the United States? If you know,
I think in the UK they got a more like the BMP. They're a bit more faster, and their style of rhyming, like the kind of thing. But yeah, I think generally the BMP is a bit more faster, and the instrumentation is a bit different. It's a bit more lighter than boom bap.
have you not noticed that international artists want to break into America, but American artists want to break into the UK now?
Oh yeah, I think it's always kind of like the case where like if you choose the country where you're trying to break into, in most cases, people trying to, like mimic the similar sound of that nation to try and get to break a record. So I think it's always been the case that people like trying to mimic whichever market they're trying to break into.
When did you come to UK? You said 2002.
Yeah,
Is that when SAS was big?
yeah, those are the days. Yeah,
Okay, because SAS actually influenced a lot of American hip hop culture through Dipset and the Diplomat movement. And if anybody's really cultured when it comes to international hip hop broke through America mainly through Yo MTV Raps. Shout out to Fab Five Freddy, and
yeah,
also through American movie soundtracks.
mm-hmm.
So like Fast and Furious would bring somebody out. You're like,
Mr.
who is
Chris.
this? You know what I'm saying? And like I said, Dizzy Rascal. I forgot it was another young lady who rhymed that was crazy. You got Beck Millie out there right now doing drill music. Shout out to Beck
Yeah,
Millie. You know what I'm saying? So as the culture turns and you create, it seems you go back to your sweet spot, which is the boom bap and traditional hip hop artists. Tell me about your new song Rhyme Apostles and how that
yeah.
came about.
So, Rhyme Apostles. Well, so initially, like the beat we used for the Rhyme Apostles is a beat I had for like, I don't know, maybe 7, 8 years. Because I like the beat. I just felt like, I need something special on this. So I had the beat. So like so recently when I decided to make an album, the forthcoming album dedicated to self. So I initially was like, I need some real speeders on this beat. So I think I'm trying to think who was on the track first. I think there was the first four MCs was Craig G, Rax, um, I think Rusty Jukes. Um, I forgot who was the fourth one. So initially, I
You got
decided
Cannabis
to
on there, bro. You got Cannabis on there. You got Keith Murray on there. You
Kid
got
Murray.
you got a bunch of folks on there. It's a 12-minute song.
Yeah, so like from there then I was like, since this track is called Ram Apostles, like from the biblical sense there were 12 apostles. So I was like, let me keep going on until I reach to 12 and make it like, the same concept. That's why the single cover is like similar to like the Last Supper, because like the 12 apostles. So yeah, it's got Cannabis, Kid Murray, Crooked Eye, Ant Live, like all the dope MC. So I'm a fan to everyone on the track. Chino Excel, everyone is on it. So yeah, that's
Was
how
that
we ended up coming to.
was that your dream track, or is there more you think that's coming from you?
Well, that's one of my because I always wanted one of those tracks with like the real speeders. So definitely is one to make the mark for me as well. Um so I definitely love that track. But I definitely got some more heat coming up. So I decided that should be my first track, to break the ground. But I think my next single is with MOP. Yeah, that one is fire. Is coming. So I think I'm just gonna drop the video for Ram Apostles. Then after that, I'm gonna drop the one with MOP called Run Him Up. Yeah, that one is crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. Definitely.
Everybody knows I'm a big MOP fan. Shout out to MJ on the check-in. MJ knows I'm a big Billy Dance fan. Shout out to MJ. All right. So
You definitely love it because like both of them were like proper snapping on it, and the beat is crazy.
I can't wait. I'm an MOP fanatic. Like I'm telling y'all now, my favorite hip hop groups. Just talking about me, and then go back to you. Sorry, is Public Enemy, Wu Tang, Tribe, Outkast, MOP, Helter Skelter. Look, man. I mean, I was listening to MOP today, going crazy in my car because that energy is missing, and I'm happy
Yeah,
that you got
man.
that. That's what's up.
Yeah.
So let's move to another part of the song that I like the best. Instead of just putting people on your record, you just let them really snap because Cannabis went all over the place. He was gone. And then Keith Murray slows the record down with pacing. Even Afro got on the song and introduced himself, but gave Uncle Rams his respect. What makes a great collabo? And what does a collab with an American artist mean to a UK artist?
So for me, basically on this track, so when I gave the guys the beats, I was like, so what's the subject matter? So I was like, I just want everyone just to snap on this. So like, so even Cannabis, I gave Cannabis the beat. Um, so but when Cannabis sent his verses like 34 bars, but I was looking at like maybe another 8 to 16 bars. Wow, so you sent like 34 bars. I'm like, damn, this is crazy and it's dope. But like because I first listened to one of my friends, and it was like, oh man, but it's a bit too long for the track. So by me being a Cannabis fan, I'm like, I initially fell in love with Cannabis because of his initial verses, like on the Beast to East, with the Lost Boys. And it was those long verses and how hard he was going on the beat. So I'm like, this is the reason why I initially fell with Cannabis. So I ain't gonna change nothing. I'm just gonna keep it the way it is. Yeah. So everyone was just snapping, sending their verses. Then I, kind of just decided who kind of comes after who and all the stuff. So for me, I just let everyone like kind of express themselves. That's how it ended up being. Yeah.
So, what does it mean to get a collab with an American artist as an international hip hop artist?
So for me, it wasn't even the fact that they're international, but like all these guys on the record for me, like I'm a fan of. So the fact that they actually accepted to be on my track, like it's something I appreciated. Um, and through the process, you learn a few things as well about the MCs, and so yeah. So all in all, like it's if anything, it's the appreciation that they are actually on my track, and we managed to make a track together. So from a fan perspective, like it's something I rejoice over. And obviously as well, like I know like all over the world, they got many fans as well. So it worked out for me that like if people who like Cannabis or who like Crocodile, they'll like definitely listen to this song because they got their favorite MC on the track. So yeah, so that's one of the reasons as well.
And shout out to Jadakiss on the intro that helped set the
Oh yeah,
record off.
definitely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you set it up nicely, man.
So right about now, I want you to give everybody your social media and give them like a minute. Tell them why they should check you out and check out your project. Go.
Yeah, so this is Ram Assassin, aka Uncle Rams. So you can follow me on all social media handles, IG, Twitter, Facebook. I'm Ram Assassin, all social media handles. And yeah, check me out because I got a dope project coming up called Dedicated to Self. It's gonna feature a lot of great MCs, MOP, Saigon, Master Ace, Rascas, and a lot of other dope solo tracks. So it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna coming out later this year, and a lot of dope videos coming out. There's gonna be a lot of conscious message on the track. So yeah, it's gonna be crazy.
And there it is right there, everybody. So before we get out of here, I think this was a great interview. What do you think? We did good?
Yeah, it's good. I enjoyed it definitely.
That's what,
Yeah,
that's what I'm
it's a good,
talking about.
different, thought-provoking one. Definitely, I liked it.
That's what I'm talking about. Make sure everybody who's watching subscribe to heritagehiphop.com for this interview and more. We have great content. And as you see, we interview not only domestic hip hop, we go international up in here. So we've done Austria, we've done Japan, we got Africa in here, we've got the United Kingdom in here. So wherever you are, if you make good music, you're able to come on to Heritage Hip Hop. But the interview is not over. Sir, would you like to play a game with me?
Yeah, let's go.
The name of this game is called the Rapid Fire Questions. These questions are not yes/no questions. These are questions designed to show your depth of knowledge of hip hop, yourself, and the art that you choose to do. Are you ready to go?
Yeah, let's go.
Here's the first question. What song or album from another artist perfectly describes you?
Ooh, from another album. The Sneak Attack, KRS One.
Okay. Shout out to Rhino C&D. Second question. What is the perfect hip hop beat? Meaning, if that person never came out with that beat, it would have been your first single.
Ooh, Mob Deep Shook Ones.
Oh, yeah, that's a great one. Shout out to Havoc. Question number 3. You know how people always say they have a Mount Rushmore of hip hop, etc.?
Yeah.
Who's your Mount Rushmore of international hip hop? Not American.
International. That's a good one. Thinking.
Take your time.
I think Sarkodie is from Ghana.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I would say. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's the one you want. You don't put nobody else up there. You get 4.
Oh, 4.
Yeah, you get 4.
Loki from the UK.
Nice.
He's dope and conscious. Casper Nyovest is from South Africa.
Okay.
And Monetti is from Zimbabwe, but he's crazy sick with the off the dome freestyles. And his pen is sick, definitely.
Okay, so we could stop there. Do you consider Slick Rick international hip hop?
Actually, yeah, because originally he's from the UK, so yeah, definitely.
I see indeed. I beat you to the punch. I didn't even see you put that up there, but yes, we're gonna give Slick Rick his flowers because he deserves it. Slick Rick is dope. One of the masters of
the greatest storytellers of all time.
That's
definitely.
it right there. The moment I feared. Nobody talks about that story. You know what I'm saying? But let's continue.
Actually, last week, a few days ago, when I went to the hip hop museum, there's also the Slick Rick chair.
Yeah.
So that's one of the chairs right by the entrance. As soon as you step in, there's like the Slick Rick chair.
That's in New York?
Yeah, in the Bronx.
Look like I gotta go. So let's continue. If you could have a dream beat from a dream producer, whose beats would you like to rhyme
on? Havoc or Primo.
Let's make it happen. Havoc is available. Talk to him.
Yeah.
Primo, I don't know. Primo, he different. He's Primo running radio stations and all types of stuff. But salute to Primo, because if you could get to him, I pray you get the success you want. You know what I mean? That's very important to me to see our fellow hip hoppers get their dreams accomplished. Check this out. I believe Brooklyn represents hip hop better than everybody. And the reason why I say that is because Brooklyn, New York was able to put out a song that unified people from all over the borough under one theme. That was the Crooklyn Dodgers. If you could make one theme with people from your area, well, UK, Zimbabwe, it doesn't matter. Who would be the three people on the song or who produces the beat?
From Zimbabwe, it will be Psychotech, Munetsi, three MCs. Ooh, that's difficult. And myself.
Here you go, you. Who's doing the beat?
The beat. I would say P to the O.
Okay.
He's one of the dope producers, definitely.
I like that. So, how about this right here? What does international hip hop bring to American hip hop that we're missing, in your opinion?
Missing. Ooh. Because I think most of the music now, I wouldn't say missing, but I think, currently, like, I think there's a bit of flood of more like commercial sound. So I think because I've listened to a lot of music, like, let's say, from Germany, France, Italy, I still feel like they bring that raw sound. And also they got their different perspectives because they were all like from different cultures. So like they can share their story through hip hop. So I think like if you were to export your own culture through hip hop, like I think it brings a great sound. Plus, it increases the worldview for other people, anyone who's going to listen to it.
I like that you said that because hip hop is in danger of disappearing as we know it, not as we understand it. I think the greatest enemy to hip hop right now is the AI technology. How do you feel about it, and what do you think that if it'll help or hurt the music?
AI is in
the artificial intelligence and using the voices and stuff.
all the stuff. Yeah. Like I said earlier, like I believe like the music should be always kept in the truest essence of how the person has made it. If we can have more live shows, and less of the artificial intelligence, I think that will be a great way forward.
I'm wary of it because if somebody could steal your voice and do stuff, you don't know what type of crimes could be committed or what kind of hell could be unleashed. So I'll just say that we ask that we use it.
I think they need to find like some sort of law, to try and discourage people from just taking someone's vocals. Because sometimes you hear like a whole mixtape, you're thinking, oh, this is a nice new mixtape. Then realize it's not even an official mixtape. Some DJ just took the vocals, mixed on certain beats. So like it's not any different from like piracy. So I think there should be a way to hopefully to stop that from happening.
I'm gonna say it again. That Biggie Smalls AI over New York State of Mind. That's not Nas, y'all. That's Nas's song. That's not Biggie. We don't need that. I mean, I know the hurt of his death is still hurting people, but we don't need that. I want to give a shout out to Zam Konto. That's my man's name. He's been in the background the whole interview. And I told him chime in on YouTube so I can get this stuff on the screen, but he didn't go. So I want to give a shout out to him. That's your peoples. Give him a shout out, bro. Let him know. He's watching you. There you go.
Yo, what's happening?
You can talk.
Oh, you want me to talk? This is my man's. Like, I think that one of the greatest things that happened for us as Zimbabweans, because I'm Zimbabwean like him, one of the greatest things that happened for us was he Rhyme Assassin doing this, like pulling all of these heroes of ours. Like we grew up on hip hop like this, and for him to pull all of them and put them in the same song, ooh man, that was the greatest thing that ever happened to me, and I think that ever happened to Zimbabweans. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for pulling all of our people that we love to put them on one track, because that really is the apostles right there. Thank you, Zimbabwe for life. Yeah.
Much appreciated. Much appreciated. Thank you, brother.
And
One love, one love.
thank you for chiming in.
I love you from the depth of my heart.
Thank you, bro.
We're going to take him out right now. He's still there. He's in the background. So I wanted to let you hear that because that's important, because hip hop is a power. Like I said, it's not something that you listen to. It also affects lives and affects communities. So I have one more question for you before we end the interview, but I want to give you a throwaway question. How did you like being on Heritage Hip Hop Podcast, and would you recommend us to anybody else?
Yeah, definitely. I would highly recommend it. Especially because I think it was thought provoking, and actually it was a good challenge to me as well, because some of the questions were quite challenging. So like thought provoking. You had to get in deep thought to answer some of these questions. So I would definitely recommend it, because it's about building. We're discussing life, in progress in everything we're doing. So yeah, I will highly recommend it, definitely.
See, y'all, we don't just ask what's your favorite rapper, what's your favorite color, what you like to eat, or who you want to have sex with. We really talk about our culture, and we talk about preserving it for the children. Because remember, the people who came before us set the foundation, and we stand on their shoulders. We're upholding God's community, which is hip hop, us, and we're giving it to the next generation. So let's take care of it and take care of each other. So it was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you for the honor of getting to hear your music and getting to hear your voice, and knowing your morals and principles as a man is an honor. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Much appreciated. Salute.
Thank you. So my final question to you is this. 500 years from now, in the Hip Hop Hall of Fame, whether it's in the international division or just straight up music, Uncle Rhymes is going to be there. Mr. Rhyme Assassin himself. And some child is going to push a red button, and your hologram is going to come out, and they're going to hear your music for the first time. The most important question I want to ask you is, what is the legacy you leave behind that made the world better because you did hip hop?
So that's gonna be more evident when the album drops. Because I got the type of songs like I did with Afura, produced by True Master. One of them is called Legacy. So basically, we're just talking to the kids, so that they can be better. Trying to teach them to be better beings. Work on self progression. Focus on building. So that's one track called Legacy, and another one with Saigon called Black Hop. We're just talking about life in general, about the hardships. So yeah, and there's a lot of crazy stuff is going to happen. A lot of messages coming up. So yeah, that's going to be the legacy. So when the album drops, it's going to be evident what I'm about.
So, ladies and gentlemen, take the time to get to know our artists. Take time to get to know our culture. Because as you see, not only does hip hop affect us at home, it affects us everywhere the melanin connects. We are worldwide. And not only do we pull each other together, we teach each other through our stories, our pain, and our love language as well. We'd like to thank Rhyme Assassin once again for joining us. Shout out to MJ Savino for helping us out and hooking us up. Love you, MJ. And
shout out to MJ. Word out.
And at the end of the day, be good to each other and let God be good to you as you serve his people. And that's hip hop. So without further ado, I think we said everything we need to say. So may the Most High bless you. Peace.
Salute.
And we out. One.
Peace.